Greetings all and welcome to Daily Pali Reading. Our passage, Itti udam adho tiryang sabadi sabatataya sabhavantang lokang meta sahagatena chetasa vipulena mahagatena appamanena averena abhyapajena paritva viharati. Instead of just translating this right away, let's look at this and notice that it is an amplification of what came before. As a matter of fact, from before, we have metta sahagatena chetasa paritva viharati. We still have that here. Before, the Buddha mentioned filling the 4 cardinal points with this heart of loving kindness. Here, we go even further. We'll start with our first word, itti. This means thus. So it can either refer back or to what is about to be mentioned. I think here it is referring ahead, although what is about to be mentioned, again, is an amplification of what came before. So we have thus paritva viharati. He leads his life having saturated. And then we're going to look for an object. And a likely object here is lokang, loco, world, universe, and that is the masculine singular accusative. We have an adjective, not only the world, but we have sabhavantang. This sabhavantang is a compound, but basically it means in all or entire. It is sabha and vant, kind of like bearing all. But we can take this as just meaning all or the entire world. He leads his life having saturated the entire world. Now, before this, we get a list of adverbs describing this entire world. We have udam adho tiryang. Udam, or actually by itself would be udang, is above, or the zenith, maybe. Adho, below. Tiryang, across. So saturates the whole entire world, above, below, across. And then we have sabadi, which is another adverb, everywhere. Sabatataya. And here we might say it's on the whole. The Pali English Dictionary says on the whole, or the state of being everywhere. Maybe from everywhere to everywhere. So again, and we mentioned this last time, how this heart of loving kindness, it spares no one. It overlooks no one. And the Buddha here is being very explicit. Not only the 4 cardinal directions as from before, but now the entire universe above, below, across. What is this entire universe being saturated with? A metta sahagatena chetasa, with a mind or a heart of loving kindness. But this time, this heart of loving kindness is more fully explained. So what is this metta sahagatena chetasa, or this chetasa? We should say this mind, chetasa, this instrumental from cheto, is metta sahagatena, filled with loving kindness. And then it has on the other side of it, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 adjectives. Vipulena, mahagatena, appamanena, averena, abhyapajena. Now, some of these are almost synonyms, so we might struggle sometimes. I shouldn't say struggle. We have in English a lot of words at our disposal, but sometimes it might be a little difficult to picture what the difference between some of these are. So, for instance, vipula is an adjective meaning large, extensive, great, abundant. So the heart is become enlarged, becomes extensive. So we might go with one of those, large, great, abundant. But this feeling probably of the heart expanding is something that we can aspire to through meditation and just living our lives. Mahagatena, and I should say, of course, these are all, since they are all adjectives of cetasa, they are all in the instrumental case as well. And they're actually easily identifiable. They are all ana endings from the our sort of masculine and neuter ending, or ung in the case of neuter. So we have mahagatena. That is actually, maha means great, kind of like mega or magnus in Greek and Latin respectively. Maha here comes from mahant, and that might account for why we have maha, and we've encountered gata already in metta saha gatena, gone to. But here we have this double G, possibly from the fact that maha has a consonant ending that is maybe when it comes into contact with gata, doubles the G there. Now, maha, or gone to greatness, gone to bigness, again, if we think of mega or magnus. So not just large, but maybe lofty, something. And again, there's some overlap here, but I think I like the idea of lofty maybe in the sense that it is above pettinesses. It is just left all of that behind. It is the heart is enlarged, and it's just gone to this state of being beyond any sort of pettiness. And as we know, this is coming from a monk who has already abandoned the 5 hindrances. So then we have apamanena, and that is without measure. This is one of these negated adjectives, the phoneme negating the idea, the base idea of the adjective. So here, apamanena, without measure, boundless, endless, unlimited. So again, this enlarged, lofty, just kind of infinite. It just goes everywhere. Just like we already read before, sabadi, sabattataya. So those are almost spatial descriptions of the heart, metaphors. But we can kind of get a sense of that perhaps when we open ourselves up to that, when we open the heart up, when we release the heart and let it be filled with metta, with loving kindness. Now the next one, averena, is another negated adjective. Vera is hatred. Avera is non-hatred. But we have to kind of understand avera, in this case averena, not as a heart that's not hateful. So non-hatred, but all the things that come with non-hatred. Certainly benevolence is one of those things. Then we have abhyapajena. So this one, I won't lie, this is a little harder. It's not so difficult to get the meaning, but to get the actual derivation. There is a word, bhyapaja, which has a JJH, which means malevolent. And the abhyapaja, in that case, would mean non-malevolent, or again, benevolent. But we don't have an H here. We have JJ and then ENE. So there is a verb, vyapajati, to harm, to injure. So again, we can get the meaning here that perhaps it's derived from that verb. Should mention one thing in Pali, if you ever have a problem looking up BYA words, look them up under VYA. and that will sometimes resolve the matter. So, and at any rate, the last adjective describing this boundless heart of loving kindness describes it as being either benevolent, again, overlapping with averena, or just non-injurious, a heart that does not harm anyone. I'll also mention in connection with averena, if we go to the first chapter of the Dhammapada, very famous verse 5, Nahi verena verani samantidha kudachanang, averena cha samanti, esa dhammo sanantano. Here we find that averena, the exact word in the instrumental. For hatreds do not cease by means of hatred, or hatreds are not appeased or calmed by means of hatred ever in this world, but they are calmed by non-hatred. This teaching, or this truth, is eternal. So just one more time, it is a very good thing to reflect upon how extensive metta can be and is supposed to be. And this is something that we should all strive towards, not only to benefit ourselves, but to bring about a much better world. And this is where we will wrap things up today. Peace, everyone.